Yo, what is going on, you guys? So today I'm bringing guys a brand new sports cards video. In today's video, we're going to be discussing the National Sports Card Convention, which, as you guys know, as I'm filming this, is under a week away, which is extremely exciting time for the sports card hobby. I know a lot of people are going to be going there. I just kind of wanted to give out some tips. Of course, I've been going to the National for a few years now. So I think I have a little bit of insight and, just sharing what's worked for me and strategies I believe that you guys can implement to from the investment side, make better decisions, buy for lower, sell for higher, and just kind of arbitrage and use it as an opportunity to make money, which at the end of the day, I'm all about the fun. I love the National as just, a sports card junkie, but at the end of the day, this is an investment channel, so I'm going to be tying everything into making the most amount of money that you can while you're at the National. So the first thing that I would say is that if you're bringing cash, and you have a kind of budget, or at least a certain amount of cash that you're bringing, I would definitely suggest being more patient. And I'm going to tell you throughout the show, it's 5 days, of course. Throughout the show, cash becomes more and more valuable. And I've noticed that from multiple sports card shows in slower markets. So I would say in slower markets, cash becomes more valuable at the end of the show. And in really fast, hot markets, cash is more valuable at the beginning. And what I mean by that is when you come in, there's going to be a lot of people who bring in a certain amount of cash that they're willing to spend. And throughout that, people's cash dries up essentially. And a lot of dealers are paying a lot lower than you would expect. So essentially what happens is the amount of cash in the room dries up over the course of the show. So if you're the one holding on to cash, you can get extremely good deals towards the end of the show when people who flew out here, all the way from, California or something like I am, right? You're flying out, you're paying thousands of dollars to come, and you're trying to make up some cost. You're trying to get rid of your cards at the end of the show, and that's when I would say buyers get the best deals. And for sellers, I would say it's the opposite. I would come as early as possible and try to capitalize off of those people who are excited to be there and ready to spend their cash at the beginning of the show. Because a lot of people who come in with, say, a $1,000 budget end up spending 800 plus of it in the first day. And I know it sounds crazy, but it happens a lot more often than you would think because there's just so much in front of you. And it's hard to pass up on a lot of these cards because your chances are, if you're looking for a specific card, you're going to find it at the National. So if you're a seller, I would say come as early as possible because a lot of people have budgets and the cash will dry up. So I would say if you're trying to sell, try to get your cash early and hold on to it towards the end of the show, and you can probably get better deals. Another thing I really wanted to touch on is trades, because trades are incredibly huge in all sports card shows, and I just think if you are somebody who's looking to trade for a specific card for your PC or a better investment card, I would definitely suggest if you can find those cards that you're more comfortable in, even if you're taking a loss in terms of trade value, it's worth it to go ahead and do the trade into something you believe in more. It's kind of like sunk opportunity cost, so that's the way I look at it. But at the end of the day, when valuing cards, I think that's huge. In trades, if you have a card that's extremely liquid, such as a LeBron James Topps Chrome PSA 10, that's a card that can be moved in a blink of an eye, essentially, in any market. Or a Michael Jordan Fleer, those type of cards that are super liquid are going to hold more trade value than a card that's a little bit tougher to move. For example, if someone has a Paul Pierce exquisite rookie autograph, which I would consider a card that's very hard to move, very niche. You have to really find a Paul Pierce collector to buy that, right? Which is quite tough to find. And if you're trading that for a LeBron James Topps Chrome, the trade value on the Pierce is going to be lower. Say if the comp is $5,000 on the Pierce, you probably want to trade value it around $4,000 to $4,500. And if you have a LeBron James Topps Chrome that's last comp is $5,000, you're probably going to want to value it closer to $5,500 to $6,000 because, of course, it's a very liquid card. And at the end of the day, in a market like this, cash is king. That's just kind of the honest truth. And I definitely think now is actually a really good time to be buying up cards. I've gone over this in plenty of other videos, but I truly believe that there's going to be a lot of deals to be had at the National. So one thing to say is do not be afraid to make offers. In a market like this where a lot of sellers can be a little bit more desperate, especially towards the end of the shows, never be afraid to make an offer, even if you feel like you're lowballing. I know a lot of people take a lot of offense to it. I'm one who was never offended by getting lowballed. It's just the name of the game, right? People lowball, people pay higher if they really want the card. A lot of different things like that. So I would definitely say, just make your offers. Worst comes to worst, they say no, right? So I definitely suggest making offers. And then flipping across the room has been huge for me at shows. If you can find desperate panic sellers, and you can really feel it when, you just keep, what I would say first personally in negotiating is never be the one to throw out offers. If someone's sticker price is $9,000, you're, wanting to pay $8,000, say for example, and you're $1,000 off. Now, if you start negotiating with yourself and throwing out, okay, 80, say if you started at 7,000 and now you're like 7,500, instead of you guys coming to a deal between 7,000 and 9,000, all of a sudden now it's going to be between 7,500 and 9,000. So you're negotiating against yourself if you're throwing out first offers. So I would say this key in negotiation is silence. At least that's what's really worked for me. Being a little bit more silent, more thoughtful, more patient. Oftentimes the other person starts to negotiate themselves down, and you can use that as leverage to get them even further down. And what I mean by that is if you're offering 7,000, the person wants 9,000, right? The seller wants 9,000. If you're the one to first start to negotiate yourself up and up your offer, you're just hurting yourself essentially. Rather, it's better to wait and try to get him to come down to 8,000 or 8,500 and then negotiate from there and get him even further down. So I would say never throw out the first offer. And just in terms of trades, you can flip across the room. Try to find a motivated buyer to sell to, right? Somebody who's there for the first time, really excited to be there. You'll realize there are a lot of people who throw a lot of money just because of the environment they're in. A lot of impulsive decisions are made at these shows, and I've really noticed that. It's, a bad thing to say to take advantage of it, but it's just kind of the cold hard truth is there are a lot of people who get overly excited, right? They see a card they want, and at that point, they're willing to pay more than they would have usually if they're bidding on eBay, right? So it's just kind of a thing where people are excited to be there. A lot of buyers who have money and want your card, they're going to be the ones to sell to. And a lot of sellers who are panicking, they're going to be the ones to buy from. So last, National, what I personally did was I picked a card. I really studied the market. That was the 1986 Michael Jordan Fleer rookie card for me. I studied the market in all grades, and I knew exactly what I wanted to pay for each and every grade, and I knew exactly what I could sell it for because that's the most liquid card, and if you can find the right buyer, they're going to pay comps, and you can probably get some sellers to sell to you for 85, 90% of comps. So you can make a quick, easy 10 to 15% on those quick flips across the room. It's a big show. There's a lot of people who are going to be willing, it's like any market that's not perfect, right? So if you look at eBay, there's kind of a huge amount of buyers and sellers looking at everything. Whereas at shows, you may not see a card that you really wanted, right? So if different people bring it to you, you're going to pay different prices, right? So I would definitely suggest, flipping across the room is a great way to make your money back. Even if you just, staying at a hotel and you want to pay for that, flipping across the room is the way to go, I would say. But yeah, definitely, I would say trades are very valuable. If you have, cash to spend, be patient. If you have trades, make sure to be valuing more liquid cards at a little bit higher prices because they're easier to get out of, especially in a market like this. But I would definitely suggest the number one rule is, of course, to have fun because the National is a once-in-a-year type thing. Great for networking, great for businesses, great for just, investors and collectors to be in an environment where there's no fees, right? Everyone's doing buying, selling on eBay, on Golden, on all these places, and they're paying astronomical fees, right? If you're buying on Golden, you're paying 20% more than the seller is getting, right? So this is a place where there's no fees for sellers. So sellers, you can take a little bit less money and still understand that if you were selling that on eBay, it would be 10% more, 12% more, right? So it's definitely a good time to be taking advantage of buying without taxes and fees, selling without fees, of course. So just make deals, but I would say just the number one thing is to be patient. And I would say that's the number one advice I'd give myself if I was telling myself some advice when I first started going to shows. Just be more patient. You can never try to rush things because you're going to end up overpaying or regretting decisions. So I really hope you guys enjoy this video. If you are going to the National, leave a drop a comment, letting us know what you are bringing. And maybe we can meet up for a trade night if you run into me. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Other than that, I'm out. Peace.